was supposed to be an important part of how the government planned to meet its climate targets, but it's turned into a huge environmental scandal. And it's not the only shocking news we've got for you on this week's episode of the Earth Edit. The Drax site in Yorkshire used to be the UK's largest coal-fired power plant, but it's since been converted to burn wood pellets instead. Sounds like it should be good news for the planet, right? But where do these wood pellets come from? According to BBC Panorama, huge amounts of the wood comes from cutting down some of the world's most precious and irreplaceable forests. But believe it or not, all of the wood pellets burnt by Drax come from overseas, outside of the UK. And the best bit? The plant releases 12 million tons of CO2 a year, making it the single biggest producer of carbon dioxide in the country. But the government can claim that it's emission-free. That's because international carbon rules state that greenhouse gas emissions from burning wood are counted in the country where the trees are felled as opposed to where they are burned. That's why our leaders gave Drax $6 billion in green subsidies paid for by your energy bills. We're urging the government to stop subsidising this plan and put people and planet over power and profit.
We just want clean energy!
And there's not one, but two massive climate scandals brewing this week. We're taking the government to court over their decision to allow a new coal mine to be opened in Whitehaven, Cumbria. And as part of this case, we've uncovered bombshell legal documents that blow a gaping hole in the government's case. When the government approved the mine, they said that the coal would be needed for steel production and that steel making couldn't be decarbonised quickly. But shockingly, government documents written around the same time reveal a high certainty that new technologies could decarbonise steel production by 2035. So 2035 feels like it might actually just be around the corner, and obviously a lot sooner than 2050, which is when the mine will stop producing coal. It's also the year we're supposed to be net zero, so you can see how this mine is completely at odds with the UK's climate plans. The documents even say that these technologies have been in use for decades and have proven emission savings. The former chair of the Climate Change Committee, Lord Deben, called the mine indefensible. And these documents only make the plan seem more ridiculous. It's muddled thinking from our leaders. They need to accept that the steel industry is moving away from coal and invest in green jobs instead. And definitely not the biggest climate scandal, but the most amusing. RuPaul has finally admitted, yeah, he just loves to frack in his own back garden. When asked about the fracking controversy, Ru said, "Do you buy gas? Before you point the finger, smell it first, bitch." If you want to understand why this is useless, please refer to this meme. Governments and fossil fuel companies have made existing in this world dependent on oil, gas and coal. While fossil fuel producers rake in billions, nature, our climate and people all over the world suffer. So unfortunately, Ru is just going to have to sashay away on this occasion, but still does get a prize for being our most problematic queen. And finally, some good news. After years of pressure from campaign groups, including ourselves, the government has finally decided to withdraw from the Energy Charter Treaty. Now, I won't bore you with the ins and outs of this legislation, but essentially it allows energy giants and fossil fuel companies to sue governments who take climate action in a way that impacts their profits. Not great. Now, the UK is a little bit late to leaving the party. Does that make sense? Late to leaving the party? Anyway, France, Spain, the Netherlands, and loads of other EU states have been long gone. In 2022, UK oil company RuPaul won £210 million from Italy after the country banned coastal oil drilling. And that was 6 times more than the company had even invested in the project. And RuPaul said they would use their winnings to fund new oil exploration in the Falkland Islands. Leaving the ECT is a brilliant win for climate. It means the UK can take ambitious climate action without the threat of being sued for millions by companies overseas, which is always nice. And ambitious climate action is what we're all about at Friends of the Earth. Our movement has forced the government to leave the ECT, and now we're upping the ante on the Drax power station and the Cumbrian coal mine. If you want to help us out, give us a like and hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video.